gear to try to tighten the car up coming off the corner. Now, Bobby Labonte was told by Jimmy Makar it's going to be awfully tight for the 30 or 40 laps. You're going to have a push. That's exactly what he's got. The car is pushing so much he can't turn it. But if they get a long green flag run where everyone else starts to get loose coming off, watch for the 18 to make his move.
Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty are battling for the 19th position. And right behind him is Sterling Marlin. And Kyle Petty has some damage on the bumper of his car. Now, when he won here in '86, Kyle became the first third-generation driver to win a NASCAR Winston Cup race. That was in February of 1986. His only win here at Richmond.
He was driving for the Wood brothers at the time. And it was one of those situations. He was running in 5th place, having a great day, but the 4 cars in front of him wrecked. And went on to win, but he had to be in position to do that, so that was good.
And right in front of Bill Elliott is a battle between Chad Little and Dale Earnhardt. And they are trying to decide who runs 17th, and Chad is going to at the moment. And now we have indeed seen Bobby Labonte come back and repass Dale Earnhardt Jr.
We saw Dale Earnhardt just a little bit ago up there racing with Bobby Hamilton, with Steve Park. Hamilton, Park, both have been able to get by Dale Earnhardt. Now Chad Little goes by.
Sterling Marlin and Bill Elliott racing for the 19th position.
Jerry, what's the tire situation? We have seen some problems here already.
And Bob, that's been a major cause for concern among the crew chiefs down here. In fact, Goodyear just came down and surveyed the tires on the lead cars. They checked them all, but they came down here and even took a torch to melt some of the rubber away. And the Goodyear engineers saw no excessive wear, no blistering, and no separation. Now, I've been listening to some of the crew chiefs trying to decide what may have happened. And what they're thinking is, what they're speculating might have happened was, a number of cars here are running 6.5 degrees of camber or more in the right front. He said, here at Richmond, that's good for a few laps, and that right front tire just won't take it.
Battle here between Steve Park and Kenny Irwin. What?
And Steve Park takes over the 15th position. What Jerry Punch was talking about was 6.5 degrees camber. That's leaning the tire in on the right front and leaning it in towards the engine. So you end up running with just on the inside of the tire. That's the only part that takes the punishment. Just a very narrow band of tire.
Another taste of the race from State Fair Corn Dogs. Here's Todd Bodine's telemetry. He gets up to about 137 miles an hour before hitting the brakes hard and going down to about 90.
His RPMs are not as high as we had seen earlier on the other car that we looked at, about 8,600 RPMs, but that sounds like a lot, but there's some of them out there that are turning 9,000 or more.
And one reason Todd Bodine is not showing the RPM is because he's not running as fast as some of these other cars. Just not getting through the corners, not being able to hit the accelerator and drive it off the corner. Here comes Jimmy Spencer, the Winston car, up behind Bill Elliott. That's up the 20th position. Kyle Petty right behind, watching all this.
Spencer looking low, getting a good run coming off the corner.
In the second half of the season, since the Pepsi 400 at Daytona, Jimmy Spencer has accumulated the 8th highest amount of points, having a great second year. Second half of the season, I should say. Finished second, of course, at Bristol, and last week was in the lead and decided to make a pit stop, and that, of course, resulted in his finishing in 15th. Jeff Gordon is trying the high side on Jeffrey Bodine in the battle for second.
Looks like it's going to make it work.
Yeah, it does.
Jeffrey's car really had been working good on the low side when he had those new tires on there, but as those tires got heated up, then started slipping up a little bit with him on the racetrack.
That's exactly what Bobby Labonte, Jerry Punch was talking about. That's exactly what he was trying to fix when they made that adjustment. On these long runs, his car was getting too loose off the corner. Right here, as he stands on the gas, comes off the corner, the back end want to come around. You can't stand that. And it gets worse and worse.
There's the leader, Tony Stewart. How much of a lead does he have? Well, it's that much. On the racetrack, it is just about 1.87 seconds. Tony Stewart has led 94 laps so far. Gordon is second, followed by Jeffrey Bodine, Mike Skinner, and Mark Martin.
Triple pits under caution. Tony Stewart, then the 24, Gordon, and the 60. All along pit road for the 24 car. It's 4 tires and 1 can of fuel. No changes. Jerry Punch.
Right side tires already on the 60 car, top of your screen. Gordon, great pit stop. He's down and away, 16.3 seconds. Bodine out at 17.7. Waiting for Stewart now, 16.4. Stewart pitting further down pit road. And that's the pit stop. The best pit stop of the 3, Jeff Gordon, at 16.3 seconds.
It's a mad scramble off pit road as everybody tries to get in line. We are under caution because of an incident involving Kyle Petty and Darrell Waltrip. Here it is.
I don't want that in that deal. It like Darrell got down in the corner and the brakes didn't work or something, because he just gets in the side of Kyle and pushed them both up towards the outside wall. And I don't believe, there we see him, I don't believe either one of them made any contact with the wall, but they certainly flat spotted some tires, and Darrell has damage to the right front fender anyway.
Kyle was on the lead lap. Darrell Waltrip was a lap down when that incident occurred. Petty remains on the lead lap. There are 104,000 people jammed into this 3/4 mile racetrack here at Richmond International Raceway, enjoying the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400. NFL season beginning tomorrow. Well, the action track has had its share already in the first 108 laps. Some teams experiencing some tire problems. That was from Jeremy Mayfield's. The Goodyear engineers burning some of the debris off the tires to check on them specifically. They say perhaps too much camber has caused some of the problems that we have seen here tonight. The green flag comes out.
Be ready, green flag.
In the 36 car is a lap down in the 30th position. Big news from that team involving Kenny Schrader, who apparently will go to the 36 car in the year 2000. Ray has an update on the 43 and the 8. Ray.
Well, Bob, Johnny Andretti gained a couple of spots on that round of pit stops. He's up to 10th now. They took 1 pound of air pressure out of the right rear. John says the car is very good. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a little bit tight in the middle, so they raised the track bar on the number 8 car. They lost 1 spot on that round of pit stops. I think he went out in 12th.
And is currently running in 12th spot as he looks back at Kenny Irwin. The car in 13th. The 11 car, Brett Bodine, the Paycheck car, is a lap down.
Most of those cars running down on the inside are the lap cars, except Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's been running down on the low side most of the night.
Dale Earnhardt on the outside of Kyle Petty.
Back in the 21st, 22nd position.
And there is Ricky Rudd. He has, as we told you earlier, been ill all weekend. Didn't qualify the car, but is feeling well enough to drive here tonight.
That 01 car is Ron Hornaday, a track phone car out of Felix Amada's stable.
Already a lap down in 38th spot. 4th, 5th, and 6th. The 60 of Jeffrey Bodine, the 31 of Mike Skinner, and the 99 of Jeff Burton.
And right behind them is Rusty Wallace in 7th place.
And right behind Rusty is Dale Jarrett.
He picked up a spot on the pit stop, even though Rusty beat him out of the pits. He was running in front of him, but Jarrett beat Bobby Labonte out also. So a little shuffling around during the pit stop.
14 straight top 10 finishes here at Richmond since this race in 1992 for Rusty Wallace. He and Mark Martin have, for the most part, owned Richmond International Raceway in the past few years.
The yellow car on the inside is Todd Bodine, the State Fair Corn Dog. Pontiac. There's Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte trying to get by Todd.
Todd gives them plenty of room, so they both do get by. And here comes Todd back on the inside of Labonte.
Rusty Wallace is really trying to make that bottom groove work. I think he realizes if he could find something down there no one else could find, he would have a huge advantage.
I think you're right. He could make it work.
Joe Nemechek, Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, and Ricky Rudd.
23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, and on back.
On back includes Johnny Benson. Also Ken Schrader and Jimmy Spencer. And they are the last cars on the lead lap. Spencer running in 29th spot. Fifth place battle involves Mike Skinner and Jeff Burton. And looking at that battle is Rusty Wallace.
He's right there on their back bumper.
Have a back bumper to Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. Chevrolet, he looks back at the 99 cars. They're going by Wally Dallenbach, the other Budweiser car. Dallenbach is in 31st. He is a lap down to these guys, as is the 36 car of Jerry Nadeau, the M&M's car.
Burton looks to the inside. Nothing doing. Mike Skinner won his second pole of 1999 here yesterday. Led 3 laps in the early going, but now battling for the 5th spot and is about to lose it to Jeff Burton. In fact, does lose it to Burton.
That was impressive. Burton able to make that pass on the bottom of the racetrack.
Now Rusty Wallace comes up there and said, well, if Burton can do it, let me try it.
Jerry Punch has more on Mike Skinner.
Guys, Mike has radioed to Larry McReynolds and say that the car is just too free in the middle of the corner and then very free coming off. He wants them to go back to their original air pressure next time by and make a track bar adjustment. So obviously the adjustments they've made are not to Mike's liking. So I bet Larry said we'll go back to where we were at the beginning on our next stop.
There's Larry McReynolds calling the shots for Mike Skinner. The last pole winner to win a race here at Richmond International was in 1988. Davey Allison. That was the very first race on this 3/4 mile racetrack.
Rusty Wallace just backs off, lets Bobby Labonte go rather than waste time racing side by side with him and losing ground. He decides to let Bobby Labonte have that position.
He made an adjustment on Bobby Labonte's car, and it seems to be working much better than it was before that last pit stop.
Tony Stewart just continues to set the pace here. His advantage is now 1.17 seconds over Jeff Gordon. 125 of 400 laps completed. Back at Richmond International Raceway, 3 guesses. Who does that boot belong to?
The King.
Is there any doubt?
That's the King.
The King, Richard Petty. It's always nice to see stars from other sports enjoying NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and we have a couple of former NFL players. There is Charlie Taylor and Tony Dorsett in the 43 pit.
Both the Petty cars this weekend have the players incorporated on their cars, advertising the products that these guys endorse. Charlie Taylor.
Ray Dunlap has more.
Bob, what a day it was down here in the media center. A bunch of great NFL players. Over in Kyle Petty's pit, we've got Dick Butkus, Willie Lanier, and L.C. Greenwood. All the time when I grew up, I was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. It was a big thrill for me to meet L.C. Greenwood today. But a lot of great players down here rooting on the 43 and the 44 car.
That's really cool to see these guys coming over here and enjoying racing. And of course, the season begins tomorrow. We've got a big game for you at 8:15 tomorrow night as we begin our Sunday night coverage. Great rivalry as the Cleveland Browns are back, and they're going to be battling the Pittsburgh Steelers. NFL prime time begins the coverage at 7:30. That takes you right up to the kickoff at 8:15 tomorrow night on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Somebody is a Cleveland Browns fan here in Richmond, Virginia. I guess that's a mini dog pound, huh? Well, Tony Stewart's fiancee Krista looks on as her man Tony Stewart leads this race by a second and a half over Jeff Gordon. About a 2 3/4 second, 2 3/10 second advantage over Mark Martin, who's running third. Jeffrey Badine's about 4 seconds back, and Bobby Labonte a little more than 5 1/4 back of Tony Stewart.
Chad Little just able to get by the Kenny Wallace car. That's Chad, the green John Deere car, Kenny Wallace. And back there, that's the battle for the 14th position as we see Ted Musgrave in the Remington car and also Sterling Marlin behind these guys.
They're running about a half a lap behind the leader.
Chad Little had a good run here last year, finished up in 12th position after starting 23rd. Started back in 32nd position tonight and is in 14th. Sterling Marlin is giving chase to Ted Musgrave and Chad Little.
Let's check out the taste of the race from our folks at Bryan Foods. See what kind of RPM and miles per hour Sterling Marlin able to attain. As he goes down the backstretch, we'll probably see about 8,500. And he'll back off in the corner. The thing goes down to about 5,600 RPMs. Now, we should see somewhere around 87, 88.
Yep.
About at 88. Sterling running in 17th position. And a couple of yellow cars up in front of him there is Bobby Hamilton in the 4 car, the Kodak car, and Steve Park in the Pennzoil car. They are running 12th and 13th.
And ahead of them, Kenny Irwin runs in the 11th position. And just ahead of him is John Andretti, the Pro Players Association on the 43 car of Andretti.
Andretti running in the 10th position.
Dale Jarrett, our points leader, is 9th. There he is. Quality Care Ford credit. 36 car of Nadeau is not on the lead lap. He is back in the 30th spot, but there is Rusty Wallace, who is on the lead lap in 8th position.
Right in front of Rusty Wallace is Mike Skinner, our pole sitter, in the Lowe's Chevrolet. There he is.
And we got a glimpse up in front of him of the 99 car. There's Skinner. And there's Jeff Burton running in 6th position. And Bobby Labonte continues to move on up through the pack. He just got around to Jeff Bodine and has taken over the 4th position. Labonte was in 9th position on the restart after the last caution, so he's marching right on up through the field.
Bobby Labonte just a bit faster than Jeffrey on that last lap.
But not quite as fast as Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon.
There's the Jeremy Mayfield car. He's not on the lead lap. Here's the 3rd place car of Mark Martin going to the outside of Darrell Waltrip.
And you can see that these guys Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin have a pretty big advantage on Bobby Labonte. It's about 3 seconds.
And way up there is the 20 car of Tony Stewart, the leader of the race. All this from the Pennzoil copter cam. See that Ken Schrader has gone a lap down. He's back in 28th spot. So 27 cars now on the lead lap as we approach the 150 lap mark.
Ricky Rudd was just lapped not a few laps ago. Coming up now, Mike Wallace in the black number 32.
Mike in his second NASCAR Winston Cup start of the year. His only other start prior to tonight was in the Daytona 500. We'll be right back. To win races, and the men behind the wall are working hard here tonight. And going behind the wall as the crew begins work on it now is the 7 car of Michael Waltrip. Ray, what's the problem with Michael?
Well, Bob, they've got a loose oil line on the number 7 car, and Michael said, we're not going to take a chance of that thing coming completely loose and putting the car in the fence, so they're going to the garage and try to fix it.
So Michael Waltrip is the 3rd car now, not on the track. The other car off the track is Rick Mast. Out of the race is Terry Labonte after a crash. And we're watching 12th, 13th, and 14th. That's Irwin, Park, and Andretti. Right behind them, Chad Little.
Andretti's lost several positions here in the last 10 laps. Kenny Irwin got by him. Now Steve Park has gotten by him. And Bobby Hamilton got by him and drove away. Hamilton now has moved up to the 10th position.
We saw quite a bit of smoke coming from that 7 car, and if the oil line was loose, it may have put down some oil on the track. There is no caution, and really we haven't seen any evidence of oil on the track. Michael was able to get down out of the groove very quickly.
He did, and haven't seen any cars doing any extra slipping and sliding.
We saw King Richard there a while ago, the owner of the 43 car. Linda Petty, his wife, we understand, fell and broke her arm a few days ago. We'd like to wish her a speedy recovery.
As you can see there, Rusty Wallace has passed Jeff Burton, has taken over the 7th position.
Ooh, what's that all about? John Andretti's car wiggled bad off turn 4.
Tony Stewart is just coasting along. Interval 1.66 seconds. And really it hasn't varied from that over the last 20 or so laps. Been pretty consistent.
And very, very consistent. You see there's the 2nd place man of Gordon. There's the 3rd place man, Mark Martin. The others coming through. You see them.
And Dale Jarrett just picked up another spot, moving to 8th position, getting by the 99 of Jeff Burton.
And Jeff Burton, I've noticed he's running higher than anyone on the racetrack. It's like he really is desperately searching for some grip on that Exide Ford.
Boy, you got to give a call to Bobby Hamilton, who's got that car running well tonight, up in 10th position. He's the one just behind Burton. From Jeff Burton's bumper cam, little damage there on the front end of the Kodak Chevy.
He just ran into somebody. That's all.
Yeah, he's
No
been in
big
some
deal,
close
huh?
quarters here tonight. He's passed a lot of race cars. He's had gotten up in the top 10 earlier, and then he had a bad pit stop and lost some positions and came back up through there again, and here he comes again. On these long runs, his car seems to be good.
Well, he's had 7 top 10 finishes here in the last 9 races, and he's up in the top 10 again, back in 9th. His last top 5 finish came here in the spring race. He finished 4th. A year ago, started 6th, finished 6th.
Saw Kenny Irwin go by a moment ago. He's been able to get by Steve Park and take over the 11th position. Watch how high the Jeff, well, we didn't see it, but he is really up on the racetrack. Like there's got to be some grip somewhere up there.
Yeah, and it seemed like I've noticed several cars searching around, Benny, for the low groove, and some of them seem to be running as good down there, like Jimmy Spencer here. He comes down on the inside of John Andretti. Andretti's car just doesn't seem to handle anywhere on the racetrack right now. The longer he runs on that set of tires, the worse it seems to get.
Battle for 16th position.
Rusty Wallace has moved into 6th around Wells. We watched that slugfest.
Awfully close.
Yeah, Rusty Wallace did move around Mike Skinner and took over 6th. Here's Spencer looking down inside once again. Boy, that's tough down there to get traction. There are a few cars that have been able to get it, but Spencer is not one of them there right now. He can get down there, but he can't get the traction coming off the turn that he needs.
A Pennzoil copter cam can show you exactly how close it is. Some angles are difficult to tell, but that angle right there, for instance, flying them right overhead, shows how close they come.
Yeah, John decided not to force that issue any further. He said, okay, just go right ahead, because he knows they can't run as fast side by side as they can when they're singled out, because your line's taken away. And Chad Little is in the wall over in turn 2. Caution is out.
Car still up against the wall. Third caution of the evening comes out on lap 169. The window net is down. Chad is moving around in there. Scrambling to get out of the race car. The 21 of Elliott Sadler trying to, and apparently successful in getting his lap back.
Chad Little's a little angry.
Yes, he is.
It's frustrating to be on the lead lap and having a good run going. Let's see, is he looking at somebody, or was it he seems to be looking out that way, or did he cut a tire or have a tire go down?
Don't see any damage to the left side of the car like he made contact with anyone.
As a result of his 20th place finish at Darlington last week, he had moved up to 20th position in the point standings. Hit it pretty hard.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
and the leaders are in the pits.
And we go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Mark Martin is in the Valvoline Ford. A little bit of damage to the hood. He's definitely made contact with someone. Mark said, let's put a half a round of bite in it. There goes the half a round. Fuel is in. They come around to the left side. Tires are going on right now. Pretty good pit stop. Bill Weber.
Jeff Gordon's car has been very good. They're concerned about burning up the right rear. They might have tightened him up just a little bit with air pressure to Jerry.
Not a single change on Tony Stewart's car, but a lot of changes going on in the car right in front of him. The 31 of Mike Skinner. Stewart now left side tires on. He is down and away, and he will be the first off. Then Bobby Labonte, then Jeffrey Bodine.
Jeff Gordon won the battle off pit road, though. Mark Martin second. I think Tony's going to fall back into at least third position here.
Wow, that's going to be interesting to see. Tony Stewart passing somebody.
Other than a lap car?
Yeah.
Not something that we have seen a great deal of here tonight. The caution out on lap number 171 as others now not on the lead lap make their pit stops. Back in just a moment with more of the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, Ray Dunlap, and Dr. Jerry Punch rejoining you here at Richmond International Raceway for the 25th event of 1999, the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400. Chad Little's car being removed from the racetrack. Well, Tony Stewart did lose the lead. He'll come out in third position. Jeff Gordon is going to be the leader. Mark Martin picked up a spot. Bobby Labonte stayed the same, and so did Jeffrey Bodine. Down to Jerry Punch.
And Bobby Labonte's pit stop, guys, remember they've taken that rubber out of the right rear before, and the car was a little bit tight. Well, it was still tight in the middle, but the car was too free getting in the corner and a little free coming off, so they put a round of wedge in it, hoping to help him getting in and help him be able to use that throttle coming off. So one round of bite in the 18 car. Let's check in with Bill.
Well, an outstanding run this evening for Jeffrey Bodine. In fact, he continues to run at the front of the pack. Now, this is a brand new race car that they just built. One of the programs that they thought was lacking in their entire operation was their short track program. So they finally got around to building a short track car, tested it, then brought it here. He was tight in that run early, then loosened up later. They tightened him up a little bit on that stop, sent him back out. Good run for Jeffrey Bodine. Here's Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, what a great night it was for Dale Earnhardt Jr. last night here, winning the Busch Series race, but tonight he's had a good bit of trouble. The team was late getting the car out onto pit road for the lineup today, so they've told them that they are going to take some test time away from them, or practice time away, when they go to Atlanta, because they didn't have the car out there. Then they just had a real long pit stop, a 21.6-second pit stop. Little Lee stalled the car when they put it down. Things not going that great, and to add to that, his brakes are going away.
He is, however, one of the 20 cars still remaining on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is shown in 18th position. We'll take another break before the restart here at Richmond.
Hey, Jeff. Now listen, I got it right here, buddy. It's icy cold and tasting great. Now come on, Jeff, you tell me. Is there anybody in this world who deserves this here Pepsi more than you?
Hi, Jeff.
See you later, Jeff.
Now that's what I call motivation.
I don't know where she came from.
Don't worry, Jeff. There's always Daytona.
They have just taken the green flag to restart on lap number 178. We had 9 laps of caution. Jeff Gordon is the leader with Martin second and Stewart third.
Off the smoke from out the exhaust of Joe Nemechek's car, like he missed a shift or something on that restart, but certainly didn't lose much ground if he did.
75 car of Ted Musgrave had a good run going. He did have to come back in the pits during this caution for loose lug nuts. Has dropped him all the way back to the last car on the lead lap in 20th spot.
Kenny Irwin must have had a pit problem as well, because he's back in 19th. And look at this mess up front there as Tony Stewart goes by Mark Martin down on the inside.
And Stewart passes and gets back one position that he lost in the pits. Now he sets his eyes on the leader, Jeff Gordon.
We saw at the bottom of the screen there Rick Mast coming out of the pits. He's been off the racetrack for quite a while, but as you said, he's the only driver that's finished all the races this year.
Yep.
So I guess he wants to keep that stream going.
Well, he's 142 laps down, but back in the hunt.
That doesn't pay anything, but you know, it's prestigious.
And Ned, the 28 car, did have to come back in for loose lug nuts also, so that's why he is back near the end of the lead lap. Jeffrey Bodine running in 5th spot alongside Joe Nemechek.
Mr. Wallace in 6th there. And the Earnhardts back there running together on the racetrack. They were 17th and 18th, but right now there's a battle for 3rd. Bobby Labonte trying to take it away from Mark Martin.
Close side-by-side racing between Bobby and Mark. And Labonte on the bottom finally makes the pass. And there is that damage to it that Mark Martin got very early in the race when he ran into Ward Burton. Now Jeffrey Bodine challenges Mark for the 4th spot.
Mark's car maybe not quite as good as it was before, because in the early going of the last time, when after a caution, he passed a lot of cars. This time he's getting past.
It's been 22 races since Jeffrey Bodine had a top 10 finish. The last one was at Rockingham. He finished 8th. Second race of 1999. On board with Rusty Wallace.
Mark Martin gets that run down the backstretch, maintains that position on Jeffrey Bodine. I think that Mark Martin, when Bobby Labonte got by him, I think when Bobby squeezed up in front of him, that Mark Martin backed off the gas to let Bobby Labonte go, and I think that cost him his momentum and allowed Jeffrey Bodine to get alongside of him, and then those guys running side by side, not quite as fast as the leaders. And Jeffrey Bodine loses a spot to Rusty Wallace as he goes by on the outside.
Wallace has the best finishing average of any driver here tonight, 5.4. Tony Stewart has caught Jeff Gordon. Didn't take him long.
No, it didn't. Boy, does he have a great race car tonight. Look at him just driving by, just like he was lapping him.
Man, Jeff Gordon led 18 laps. Now put Stewart back at the front of the field. He'll continue to add to his total, which right now is 164. After 24 races, let's compare the rookie seasons of Stewart and Gordon. Tony is 5th in points. Jeff, at this point in his rookie year of 93, was 9th in points. Tony has more top 10s and has a better average finish than Jeff Gordon.
Tony Stewart had a similar, he's had a lot of good runs this year, but he had a very similar run to this at Loudon, New Hampshire when they were there back in July. He led a good portion of that race. Unfortunately, ran out of gas near the end of the race and cost him his first victory. But he really, on these relatively flat racetracks, they have their program together.
And Tony Stewart has completed more laps this year in Winston Cup competition than any other driver, 6,602. He has a 0.4 of a second lead on Jeff Gordon. Bobby Labonte is third, followed by Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace. Televised for you will be at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Bud Pole qualifying at 3 o'clock on Friday, October the 1st on ESPN2. The NASCAR Featherlight Modified Series at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Our happy hour coverage at 5 o'clock on Saturday. And then on Sunday, October the 3rd, RPM today at noon. NASCAR today with Bill Weber at 12:30. And the Napa Auto Care 500 gets the green flag at 1 o'clock on ESPN. RPM tonight on ESPN2 at 9:30. Sunday, October 3rd. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. Well, the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th place cars, BP, are really going at it.
They sure are. Here comes Bobby Hamilton. We've seen this Kodak Film Chevrolet run awfully well. He's finally caught up to these fast cars. What can he do with them?
He's been able to work as well on that side of the racetrack as anyone. DJ was up there trying to pass the 60 car. Jeff Burton got by him on the outside, and then Jeff finally worked and got by Jeffrey Bodine down on the inside. And while all that was going on, Rusty Wallace passed Mark Martin for the 4th position.
It's like the headlights broke out there on the right front, huh?
Looks like he's running to someone.
In close quarters.
By the way, we talked about Martinsville. I never see Dale Jarrett on the inside of Jeffrey Bodine. I saw Clay Campbell down in the infield earlier today. He said he's still got a few tickets left for that race in Martinsville. So if you fans want to come see a great NASCAR Winston Cup race.
Another one of the action tracks on the circuit.
Yeah, no kidding.
Last short track race of 1999.
These guys here are full straightaway behind the leader. And by the way, we have passed the halfway mark. We have completed 202 laps, so Tony Stewart picks up $10,000 for leading at the halfway mark.
From the folks at Gatorade. That's a pretty nice little lick with $10,000. Watch Hamilton and DJ.
Look at Hamilton's car down on that inside. He got a bite coming up off the corner, which is pretty impressive.
Not only has he run into someone in the front end, but he has a wheel mark there in the right rear.
I'll let him go, DJ.
So
that's not the nature of a race driver, is it?
No, it sure isn't.
Remember, Michael Waltrip went behind the wall a while ago with some smoke pouring from that car and the oil line broken, but the 7 car rolls down pit road and is about to rejoin the action. He'll be about 53 laps down. Another bump from Hamilton as he takes the spot from DJ.
Told you I'll let him go.
Some good fatherly advice that the son didn't listen to, Ned.
Well, of course, he couldn't hear, but...
That was a battle for the 7th position.
That's worth another look in real time.
Going down in the corner. Ooh, just touched.
Is that what is called rattling one's cage?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, but that was okay. I mean, he'd been racing him hard. Just a little bit of a touch there. That's okay to do that kind of thing.
Well, here's Tony Stewart now, whose lead over Jeff Gordon isn't all that much. In fact, it's only about 0.4 of a second.
Wow, Jeff Gordon closing right in.
Down to Jerry Punch.
Well, we saw Tony Stewart have a problem in the pits with that last pit stop. In fact, he was the third car on the racetrack. The problem he had was they had a lug nut fall off on the right front. Now, the car is handling real well right now. They don't have a problem with the fact they've made no adjustments whatsoever on the car. The biggest concern they've had is their pit stop. Tony is very, very concerned about stalling the car when he comes down pit road, and so he's coming in so slow to keep the motor revved up. He's throwing the timing off from the pit crew. So we'll watch his next stop. Let's check in with Bill.
About 30 laps ago, before we went back to green, I asked Ray Evernham, are you guys going to be okay? He said the right rear tire problem's not going to affect us throughout the evening. The problem is trying to catch the 20 car. At that point, the 24 was in front of the 20 car. But Jeff Gordon gave up that lead, and when Tony Stewart went by him, Gordon got on the radio and said, look at him go.
and he can look up in his rearview mirror and the crash here on the front straightaway right in front of Jeff Gordon and the leader, but they get by.
That's Ward Burton, whose car is right in the low groove of the racetrack past the start-finish line. Tough night for Ward, involved in the bump with Mark Martin very early in the race, and now crashing here on lap 212. Here comes Tony Stewart around, and Darrell Waltrip is trying to get one of his laps back.
And he does. Tony Stewart slows down and lets him go by.
We saw Jeffrey Bodine slowing. What was that all about, Bill?
Well, on Jeff Bodine's car, they thought they had an ignition box problem. They changed ignition boxes, and now they believe the problem is in the engine compartment. So they're going to bring him in. They're going to have to go under the hood here on pit road. But great run for him through the first 200 laps. But now Jeff Bodine with problems.
We take a look at this crash involving Ward Burton.
Never see Ward coming off the corner. All of a sudden it just goes around. The back end just comes around.
And there comes Tony Stewart, the leader, and Jeff Gordon, who running second. They hit all that smoke, and Tony Stewart looks like that he's headed right into him, but he comes to the low side. I'm sure his spotter told him to go low, and Jeff Gordon's spotter told him to go high, and now all the leaders are in the pits.
Pit stops on lap 214. Bill Weber.
They have warned Jeff Gordon just to be careful with his tires. Other than that, no major changes. They do bump up the spoiler a little bit. Right side tires around. They whip around to the left side. They'll put on the left sides. The fuel is in. They clean the windshield. He's almost ready to go. Revs the engine. He's on his way toward Jerry Punch.
Great pit stop for Tony Stewart's crew so far. One round of bite into trying to help the forward bite. Stewart is down and away, but Gordon and Labonte will beat him out to pit road.
And Mark Martin, so Tony's going to fall into fourth position.
And look at Mike Skinner sit there and just lose position after position. He must have gone back to the 16th, 17th position.
All right, now from the Pennzoil copter cam, we're going to watch both Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart get through this incident involving Ward Burton, and both had to hit the brakes. Gordon goes high and Stewart goes low. Both of them not involved in the Ward Burton accident. His car is being pushed back behind the wall. We'll be back in just a moment with more from Richmond International.
And they tell me Trot Nixon had a home run today. So, wife, that's the husband of Catherine Nixon, one of the folks in our truck there. So congratulations, Catherine and Trot.
And by the way, thanks for the autographed baseball. 217 laps in the books, and we are about to go back to racing here at Richmond International Raceway. It's Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and Jeff Burton. 1 through 5 as the green is about to fly.
Green, green, green.
Ricky Rudd has abandoned his car. Remember, we told you earlier that he was suffering from food poisoning and did not qualify the car. Dick Trickle did. Rudd started the race. Trickle is in it now. And the 10 car is in 30th position, a lap down.
And Jeremy Mayfield, the 12 car, trying awfully hard to get one of his laps back. He is a couple of laps down. Right now, he's in front of the leader.
Had a flat tire early in the race and has never been able to make up. He got 3 laps behind and has tried several times. That time across the line, he was very close. I don't know which one led it. It doesn't matter unless he gets a caution while he's out in front of the 24.
Rusty Wallace is in 6th and appears to be ready to challenge Jeff Burton. Maybe he's getting that Miller Lite Ford dialed in.
Yeah, he had moved up through the pack. He had passed Mark Martin, and Rusty seems to be, his car seems to be better now than it was earlier in the race. You always expect a lot out of Rusty Wallace on any short track, and especially here at Richmond. Has a great record here.
Here's a Lowe's field summary with the point standings. We have 10 races to go in the 99 season, 9 after today. Mike Skinner taking the 10th position in points away from Ward Burton. Of course, the top 10 will be on the stage at the Waldorf Astoria in December for the NASCAR Winston Cup Banquet. Talk about close quarters. That is it.
It's Jerry Nadeau, the M&M's car, on the inside. He is a lap down to these cars. We're riding along with Jeff Burton in the Exide Ford as Rusty Wallace pulls up right on the back bumper.
Ernie Irvan was here at Richmond International Raceway this weekend. Good to see him continuing to be involved in the sport despite the fact that he announced his retirement from competition last weekend.
He was up with Boris Said for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Thursday night. As a matter of fact, he stayed all weekend. I saw him down at the church service earlier today.
Back up front, there are your top 4. Now again, the 12 car is getting one of his 2 laps back. Gordon, Martin, Labonte, Stewart, 1 through 4.
Last time by, Mark Martin was 2 miles per hour faster than Jeff Gordon. And that time, Bobby Labonte was the, I'm sorry, Jeff Burton was the quickest car.
Yep. Well, we'll let you all see who's fastest this next time as we check the speeds as they hit the line.
Jeff Burton again. Yep, over 121.
Stewart second. Bobby Labonte third. And we're on board with Jeff.
And guess what Jeff Burton has done to pick up that speed? Watch this. Watch this. He's on the bottom of the racetrack. The guy who's been running higher than anyone else has now gone to the bottom of the racetrack.
Dale Earnhardt is also on the bottom of the racetrack as he tries to take 9th away from Marlin. Bobby Labonte goes to 2nd, passing Martin, and so does Tony Stewart.
Mark Martin's going to lose 3 positions here if Jeff Burton gets by. He moves down to the inside. Burton does, trying to take over the 4th position. He has it.
Martin dropping back now to 5th.
Watch Burton on the bottom of the racetrack. He is really running down there now.
I'm sure they've made some adjustments on that Exide Ford to allow him to do that, but you pointed out several times in the first half of the race that he could only run on the high side, and he was struggling up there, but boy, he is hooked up now.
The 32 and the 8 almost had a crash. Let's take a look at that. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, Jimmy Spencer, and Mike Wallace. Boom.
Wow.
Contact. And boy, that jams them up behind it. Could have had a big wreck right there, but cooler heads prevailed.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in 15th on the lead lap. His dad is 9th.
And look at Jeff Burton going by Tony Stewart. That's the first time we've seen that happen tonight.
Yeah, he's been passing cars, Tony Stewart has, and Bobby Labonte has caught Jeff Gordon, and he's trying to take the lead.
Bobby Labonte has led 3 laps here tonight. Gordon has led 36 so far.
Still hasn't been able to do it.
Jerry Punch has a report on Jeff Burton, who's running 3rd.
I spoke with Frank Stoddard, and what he did was exactly what we heard Bobby Labonte did earlier tonight and Rusty Wallace. On that last stop, they took a rubber out of the right rear, and that tightened up Jeff enough, and now he can run the car on the bottom of the racetrack and still get enough fight to get up off the corner. That rubber has made a huge difference in the 99 car. Bill Weber?
The last 2 restarts, Mark Martin has not been very good. He just told Jimmy Fennig on the radio about 3 laps ago, this car is just way too tight. Have to see if it loosens up as they go along, but Mark's given up several good positions here early into the green.
He is behind these 2 battling up front, back in 5th position. The battle is continuing between Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon, and the 104,000 people who are in the stands in the suites here tonight have not sat down since the restart as they watch this side-by-side competition.
Very impressive that these 2 guys, and we see Jeff Gordon square down in front of Bobby Labonte. Very impressive these guys then running side by side was able to just keep up with Jeremy Mayfield.
Yes, they were still turning good lap speeds, and you see Tony Stewart has gotten back around the 99 car of Jeff Burton and caught up to Gordon and Labonte.
So a good 4-car battle up front here. Well, here's Labonte once again looking to the inside in turn 4, trying to grab the lead away from Gordon.
Boy, did he drive that thing. Bobby Labonte drove her deep down into turn 3 and stuck with him.
He was hoping that Jeremy Mayfield would move up in front of Jeff Gordon, just like he is right there, which would allow him to take the lead.
You mean like that?
Like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Now look at Stewart. He may have the same idea since Gordon can't get away from Jeremy Mayfield. And indeed, Tony Stewart goes to 2nd. So Jeff Gordon all of a sudden falls back to 3rd as he gets caught behind Jeremy Mayfield. Bobby Labonte now has the lead of the NASCAR Select Batteries 400. 239 laps in the books. Back after these messages, Labonte leads Stewart, Gordon, and Burton.
Back at Richmond International Raceway under caution. Triple split pit. Gordon has already made his pit stop. Bobby Labonte leaving, and now Tony Stewart nearly clips his teammate Bobby Labonte as they exit pit road under caution. There are the time, 16.8 seconds for Labonte. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
4 tires and fuel for Jeff Gordon. No adjustments, although they are very disappointed with the performance of Jeremy Mayfield on the track. To Ray.
Bobby Hamilton came in the Kodak car, and they put 4 tires on it, went down 2 pounds on the right rear. Bobby Hamilton says the car running very well. This has been probably their best car in the stable. They finished 4th here in the spring, which is their best run of the year. It was in the same car, and last fall the same team finished 6th here at Richmond in the same car. So Bobby Hamilton loves this race car.
Why are we under caution, you ask? Well, it's our 5th of the evening, and it involved an incident between the 32 and the 01. There is the 01 of Hornaday sideways.
And the car, Hornaday just nails the gas, goes up, does not hit the, well, no, he did not hit the wall, and there we see Mike Wallace go by along with Brett Bodine.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is having a long stop, Ray. What's going on?
Well, Bob, that's actually their 2nd stop. The first time they came in, they had trouble. They only were able to put right side tires on, so they came back for lefts this time, but it's the brakes that are going away on the 8, and that's what's giving Dale Earnhardt fits.
He drops back to 20th, the last car on the lead lap. Under caution for the 5th time in the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400. Half a lap run under green as Tony Stewart has dropped back to 5th position. He's getting killed on pit stops. Jeff Gordon the leader, Mark Martin second, then Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton, and Stewart. And Steve Park has moved to 6th. Rusty Wallace is 7th, and Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, and Sterling Marlin.
You wonder, Steve Park, he either had a great pit stop. He did have a great pit stop. Whether he took on all 4 tires, don't know about that.
Bill, did he?
He took 2 right side tires during that pit stop, so they needed the track position and running well. 2 right side tires for Park.
They have got the good track position.
Battle for the lead. Mark Martin on the inside of Jeff Gordon.
Mark has not led yet tonight. 4 drivers have led. Stewart, Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Mike Skinner. Stewart the most, 189 laps.
Martin, you see they've got green wheels on that 6 car this time. Apparently off of the car of Chad Little, who crashed a little bit earlier.
Wow, Mark Martin came off the corner loose, squeezed up almost in the side of Jeff Gordon.
Ray, those green wheels, what are they, from Chad Little's car?
Yeah, they sure are, Bob, and the reason is Mark's car is so loose they just have not been able to get a set of tires that works. So they thought maybe by getting a set from Chad Little, they might be a little better. There's also a set of these green wheels sitting in Bobby Hamilton's pit right now, so you might see some of Chad's tires on the 4 car next time they come into pit. The reason is these guys all started out with 8 sets of tires tonight. They've already pitted 5 times and put stickers on, so they want to get as many tires in the pit as they can. We still got a long way to go.
And all of a sudden, Mark is not battling for the lead anymore. In fact, he's back to 6th position.
He just backed off and let these guys go.
And Jarrett up high.
I think Dale Earnhardt might have gotten in the back of him. I don't know if we have a replay of that, but we'll see. They had Earnhardt had bumped him once or twice before. And Bobby Labonte going for the lead. Once again, down on the inside, trying to.
Nope, can't do it.
And you obviously Tony Stewart back there trying to take over that 3rd spot.
From Jeff Burton. Well, and Jarrett sure did lose a lot of track position. He's back to 14th. This battle for 2nd continues between Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart. We'll show you the replay that involved Dale Jarrett just as soon as this contest for 2nd is decided.
Which is going to be a contest for 1st before long. As Tony Stewart goes by both those cars and now goes up to challenge Jeff Gordon for the lead.
Another incredible run for the Rushville Rocket, as they used to call him when he was running in the United States Auto Club Open Wheel Division and the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Tony Stewart and a couple of Hoosiers are battling up front, BP.
Oh, that makes you proud, doesn't it?
Love to see that.
Wow.
Around and round they go, side by side.
But Tony Stewart every lap seems to be getting just a little bit more of an advantage.
Now it's clear. Now he's not.
I think they made a little contact right there.
Yeah.
Gordon backed off.
Stewart has the lead.
And Jeff Burton trying to take over 3rd spot, and does, from Bobby Labonte.
All right, now that things have settled down just a little bit, here's the replay. Now Dale Jarrett,
the 1st turn, and they're on the outside of Bill Elliott. See, Earnhardt just runs up there and taps him just a little bit, and almost gets him into the wall.
Bill has more on the 88.
Well, up until that point of the evening, it's been pretty quiet for Dale Jarrett and company, just tweaking the car on their stops. Last time before he pitted, he was tight in the center, loose on the bottom. Did not want to play with the air pressure because of the tire situation, so they made a track bar adjustment, went back out. They were running 8th, and then he got hit in the back, and he fell 6 spots, and he came on the radio, and he said, "Who hit me, Bob? Who hit me?" Asking his spotter. The answer, the 3-car. The 3-car.
Tom Jeffries, the spotter for Dale Jarrett. There's the 31 of Mike Skinner, our pole sitter, who is in 13th position. Here once again is a battle toward the front of the field for second, Burton and Gordon, as Bobby Labonte looks on.
Bill Elliott has slowed. He's already a lap down, running in 24th position right now, but he's going slow down between turns 1 and 2 as Jeff Burton tries to get around Jeff Gordon.
On that replay a moment ago, when Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt made the contact, I saw smoke out of Bill Elliott's car when he got back on the accelerator, so he is experiencing some type of engine problem.
Well, Tony Stewart has now locked up the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Led the most at Bristol, has led the most here tonight. Average speed of the race a little over 101 miles an hour. We've been slowed 5 times for a total of 37 laps for cautions.
Believe it or not, these guys running side by side, that last lap ran faster than Tony Stewart did leading the race, but that time Stewart was a little faster than they were.
Out of 1 second advantage for Tony Stewart as we have completed 264 laps. We'll be right back. On a Saturday night in Richmond, Virginia, it has been all Tony Stewart so far as on the racetrack. Frankie Stoddard, Joe Gibbs, and Ray Evernham can only look on and see Tony pretty much dominating things here in the first 272 laps. He's got about a 3/4 of a second lead on Jeff Gordon at the moment. Bill Weber, we've noticed that Bill Elliott has been in a couple of times recently.
And now he's going behind the wall, Bob. He had a vibration. They were hoping it was just a tire. Then they wanted to know if it might have been the drive shaft. He believes it's in the gear. It's a problem with the pinion. So they've taken it behind the wall. They will change the rear end gear on the 94 car. Tough break for him. Was running well. Now behind the wall. Briefly on Jeff Bodine in the 6-0. They think they've got a bad valve spring. He's out there limping around, but it's lost a tremendous amount of position.
Yeah, he's lost 2 laps back in 29th, Jeffrey Bodine. Here's Mike Skinner, Dale Jarrett, and John Andretti as they battle for 12th, 13th, and 14th as the pole sitter Skinner has dropped back now to 12th. Here's the Bud race recap. Tony Stewart continuing to add to his lap lead, 207 currently. We've had 13 lead changes and 5 caution laps. Average speed almost 102 miles an hour. Here are the 5 drivers who have led at least a lap here tonight. We have a couple of drivers that are off the racetrack, and notice that Rick Mast has taken his car behind the wall. And Rick, again, we remind you, is the only driver that does not have a DNF this year. And 2 cars out of the race as a result of crashes, Chad Little and Terry Labonte. Mark Martin beginning to struggle. He was up there in 2nd position, now has dropped back to 7th. Ray, what's the problem there?
Well, Bob, it has to do with this set of tires that they've got on the race car. Mark just came on the radio and said to Jimmy Fenning, "I don't even think we'll be able to make it to the next stop. This set of tires is just killing me."
See Dale Earnhardt there in front of Mark Martin. The Goodwrench Chevrolet has gone by Mark, taken over the 6th position.
Back to this battle for the 12th spot between Jarrett and Skinner.
And you see behind them Bobby Hamilton, the Kodak Film Chevrolet. All of a sudden he has lost the handle on that car. Remember how well he run earlier in the race? All of a sudden now he's struggling back in 14th.
Well, he was pretty far back on this restart, Benny, and he has passed John Andretti and has caught up to these drivers here. But whether he'll be able to do anything with them or not. But you're right, he was up there in the top 10, but now he's not doing as well as he was. Garrett finally did get around Mike Skinner and took over the 12th position.
Tony Stewart begins to move through some heavy traffic. That's Wally Dallenbach in the 25 and Dick Trickle, who is relief driving for Ricky Rudd. Announcement possibly could come on Monday regarding Ricky Rudd's 2000 plans. Word is that he is going to go to the 28 RPM tonight at 7 o'clock Monday night, with John Kernan will have the full details. And
or Jeff Gordon ran in there on the 10 car and almost ran over him, then almost ran into the wall.
He had to slam on the brakes to avoid the 10 car, and you're right, it almost caught the wall. That last lap, Jeff Gordon's been running around 118 mile per hour average. The last time his average speed was 114 miles per hour. That's how much time he lost with that incident over in turn 2.
Still maintains second, however, over Jeff Burton. There's Jeff. He has David Green between himself and Jeff Gordon. There's the leader as he puts another lap on Mike Wallace, who will go 2 laps down in the 26th position. Just a little more than 100 laps to go in the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400 from Richmond International Raceway.
You make a car from the ground up with a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, and a lot of love.
And the crew works so hard day and night. They do everything, and then they put you out there.
Each car has a personality. You got to get a feel for them.
It's the Test Track Series, celebrating the unsung workhorses that race the test track like only Hot Wheels does. Limited quantities while supplies last.
When you can go through a corner as fast as you feel the car can possibly go through that corner, you're right on the edge.
Hot Wheels Racing. Feel it.
1.66 second lead on Jeff Gordon as Tony comes up to put another lap on the 9 car of Steve Grissom. That puts him 3 laps down in 31st spot. There is Jeff Gordon and Bill Weber. Is there a problem on?
It sure doesn't look like it watching him on the racetrack, Bob, but about 8 laps ago he called in and said, I just broke the transmission, or we broke the transmission. But he continued to go on the racetrack, and Ray has told him, just keep doing what you're doing. Now at the back here they have gotten out a second transmission. They've rolled out a cart that they could change gears. They're all set to make any kind of preparations. But I asked Ray Evernham, he said right now they're okay. I said, what's the story? He goes, it's a long story. And there's no time for a long story at a short track race, so we'll keep our eyes and ears open.
Well, he's maintaining his advantage over third place Jeff Burton. They're separated by about 1.4 seconds, so the on-track performance of the 24 doesn't appear to be affected at the moment. The 33 car of Ken Schrader had a problem a couple of laps ago. Ken is a lap down in the 24 spot.
He just pancaked the right side of that car. See the wheels, and we see some sparks coming from under the car where something's dragging the racetrack. So he's made contact with the wall. When those wheels are white instead of black, that means they have concrete and paint on them.
Quite a story involving Schrader. Andy Petrie held an impromptu news conference before the start of the race and confirmed that apparently Ken Schrader will not fulfill his obligation to Petrie in the 2000 season. And Ken looks like headed for the 36.
Of course, the 36 vacated when Ernie Irvin retired last week from NASCAR Winston Cup competition.
And Jerry Nadeau, who has been driving that, is going over the 25 for the 2000 season. Wally Dallenbach is an available driver.
In the 30 car, Todd Bodine in front of Kenny Schrader. Todd Bodine is 1 lap down in 23rd position as Schrader trying to get by.
This is a battle for position.
On board with the State Fair Corn Dogs onboard camera.
300 laps complete. Stewart's lead now 2.1 seconds. And the 55 car of Kenny Wallace will lose his first lap of the evening. Running in 19th spot. Been a good run for Kenny. 15th, 16th, and 17th continue to run close together. There they are. Andretti, Earnhardt Jr., Spencer.
That's a heck of a battle there now.
Yeah, it is, and they've been battling for quite a while, too. Earnhardt Jr., of course, will join the Winston Cup Series full-time in the year 2000.
Oh, some contact. And around goes Spencer.
In turn 4.
Contact.
It looked like that Dale Earnhardt Jr. moved over to let Spencer go by, and then in turn 3 they made contact.
Some heavy damage to the left side of the Winston Ford Taurus. And Jimmy Spencer brings out another caution, our 6th of the evening.
The window nets down. See Jimmy Spencer moving around in the Winston Ford.
Well, this could be an important pit stop here.
Now, if Jeff Gordon has a transmission problem, how's he going to get out of the pits? That's going to be the question mark.
Down to Bill Weber.
He only has 4th gear. Gordon only has 4th gear. He'll follow Tony Stewart down pit road. They were also concerned about his right front tire. In fact, they talked about pitting under green, and then they got the caution. Now Gordon is on pit road. Right side tires will go on. They tear away the plastic windshield cover. Fuel is already in. Now they'll come around to the left side. Everybody pitting under caution. 304 laps on the board. Now you can see the team loading up behind the car. They'll have to push Gordon away. Does as best as he can with only 4th gear and now creeps down pit road.
He just creeps his right.
Going to come out in 3rd spot. Tony Stewart's going to have the lead, and I believe Burton will be 2nd. Here's Jerry Punch.
Tony Stewart told his crew, do not touch anything. Change the tires, fill it up with fuel, but the car is absolutely perfect. Maybe a hitch loose toward the end of the run, but otherwise, let's make no changes, guys. We should be good to go.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., Sr., was in down here. His car's the same thing, Jerry. It's just a little bit loose on a long run. He says it's pretty happy, though. They went down 1 pound of air pressure on the right rear, and Earnhardt back to the track.
Let's show you once again the wreck that has caused a caution. It involved Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Spencer.
See Earnhardt in the 8 car down on the low side. Makes contact with the 23. Didn't take much. And around he goes into the wall hard.
And from another angle,
Earnhardt Jr. goes in the corner, and for some reason, I mean, it looked like maybe the car got a little bit loose, or he's trying to save the car. I mean, you look at the thing, you say he just went up and hit the 23, but I don't believe he did that. I think that something happened that caused him to go up and get in the side of the 23 car.
There was an obvious bobble that sent the car up into Jimmy Spencer. We'll take another break and be back with more live coverage in just a moment. Still under caution here at Richmond International Raceway because of an accident involving Jimmy Spencer. Now, Jeff Gordon falling to 3rd position here as a result of these pit stops. Bill, what's the situation with his transmission?
Well, he only has 4th gear, Bob, as we talked about, but now he has told Ray Evernham he definitely has a clutch problem. He's going to come down pit road. They want to check it and see if they can do something to correct the clutch problem on pit road. They had talked about taking the car back to the garage. You can hear the fan reaction here at Richmond. They'll jack it up. take a look at it, and again, they'll have to push him to get him started down pit road. You have to use a jack stand when you send a man under the car on pit road by NASCAR decree. Shuts off the car.
And I'm not sure what they could do to the clutch. Careful not to rev the engine up. I think he did rev the engine up when he went out of the pits before after to change tires, and that could cause the clutch to slip. But he's going to have to roll on pretty good there to keep from going a lap down. He's going to make it. The signal is being given for 1 lap to go. They'll go green this time around, and I'm not sure that his car is going to get up to speed.
I think the clutch is slipping on the car. I think when he left in 4th gear the other time, that he got it so hot that the clutch is slipping now.
In his 3 championship seasons, he had a total of 9 finishes of 30th or worse. In the first 24 races of this year, he has had 6 finishes of 30th or worse. Bill?
Well, Ray Evernham has come down off the pit box here on pit road, continues to talk to his driver. Gordon wants to ride around, but if that's as fast as he can go, they're not going to let him stay out there. A green flag's about to come, and this field will blow his doors off here in about 5 seconds.
And Tony Stewart has moved ahead of Jeff Gordon in the point standings.
To make matters worse.
Yeah, as the green comes out and we go back to competition. Look how slow Jeff is down the backstretch, and it looks like he is headed in. No sense being out there at that speed, is there?
No point at all. He could hardly get back to the pits.
Rusty may have a problem, Jerry.
He's reporting, guys, that apparently the power steering has gone out. He's having to grab the steering wheel and just twist it with both hands to get the car to turn. And, guys, he's got, 88 laps to go? That's going to be a lot of effort by Rusty Wallace.
The 24 of Jeff Gordon goes behind the wall for repairs to the transmission and clutch.
I think he's going to the garage here because I don't think they can fix that problem in the remaining 87 laps.
Here's a Hardee's Field summary, and it shows you that Stewart moves to 4th in the point standings. Bill?
Crew Chief Benny Parsons had it exactly right. That's what Ray just said. Take it to the garage. There's not enough time left in this race to fix it.
Well, that is going to drop Jeff Gordon way back into the 30s, maybe even the 40s. Dale Jarrett has moved up to 4th position at a good pit stop. Moved from 12th to 5th and has picked up a position since then. And you'll recall the last couple of nights of racing. Well, Greg Biffle, the points leader in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, won that race. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the points leader in the Busch Series, won the race last night. What do you think, Ed?
Sounds good to me. Continue that trend here at the Richmond International Raceway. DJ made a 15.9-second pit stop, moved from 12th to 5th, and when Gordon went in the garage, that moved him up to 4th. Let's go to the pits now.
Well, Jeff Gordon just pulled the DuPont Chevy in behind the wall, talking it over here with Ed Gozzo and some of the crew members. As he climbs out of the car, we'll get over here to him. Jeff, very, very odd to see you guys have a mechanical problem.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, we were running really strong, and we were getting better and better. And, you know, something broke in the transmission. All I had was 4th gear there, and when I went to take off out of the pits, I, had to slip the clutch and burn the clutch up in it, so I couldn't go anywhere. Oh well.
Too late to fix it now, right?
Yeah, we can't fix it.
Okay, Jeff Gordon done for the night.
And back here in the pack, here's Earnhardt and Martin as they battle for 8th, and the number 1 car of Steve Park is 7th.
Jerry Nadeau's been in the picture a lot tonight. He's a lap down, but he's running in 19th position right now, but he has run well after he got that lap down.
And here is 10th and 11th, Hamilton and Skinner. And the 28 car of Irwin is still on the lead lap in 12th spot.
But I thought I saw a little whiff of smoke from that 28. Might not have, I don't know.
Might have been when he laid up against that 32 car in the end.
Yeah, I think it could have been. Yeah, it probably was.
As a matter of fact, that 32 car Mike Wallace is driving is one of Kenny Irwin's old cars.
Coming up next here on ESPN SportsCenter with all the baseball results. No hitter in baseball today. We have the NFL season beginning tomorrow. All kinds of things going on. And we'll be back here live with an interview of the winner of the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400 on SportsCenter coming up next on ESPN. Tony Stewart with about a 0.6 of a second lead now on Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, and Rusty Wallace, the top 5.
You'll see Bobby Labonte has moved by Jeff Burton and taken over that second spot. So right now, Joe Gibbs must be feeling real good. Running 1-2 in the NASCAR Exide 400.
Well, that pair of Pontiacs are really taking off. And right here, some cars doing some great racing. Ted Musgrave having one of the best runs of the year in the 75 car. Kenny Irwin in the 28. And the 75 car got one of those Robert Yates engines in it. They race side by side there, and Steve Park looking on.
Musgrave's best finish of 1999 was here in the spring, in May, as a matter of fact. He finished in 11th position after starting 41st.
Well, he was running 11th just now and took over 10.
Yep. Ted won his first pole position of his Winston Cup career in March of 1994 here at this facility. And Ted Musgrave has the highest number of laps completed here, percentage-wise, 99.3% of the laps. We got Pontiac running first and second, and the last time that was done was in April of 1993. Rusty Wallace finished first, and Kyle Petty was second at North Wilkesboro. Rookie has not won a NASCAR Winston Cup race since 1987. This is the 376th race since Davey Allison took the checkered flag in his rookie season in May of 1987 at Dover.
Well, boy, that is going to change tonight unless something goes wrong, because Tony Stewart has had a great car, has driven it well. And these drivers back here have driven well, too. They just haven't been fast enough, but they've been doing a lot of racing. John Andretti in the car number 43. And Steve Park and Mike Skinner, pole sitter. And Mike Skinner, of course, was the pole sitter. And we take a look at how that happened. He's back to 4th at 67 laps, and then twice that many number of laps. He's back to 7th, now back to 14th. So his Lowe's Chevrolet just hasn't handled right as good as in the race, not nearly as good as it did in qualifying, but that is two different situations, racing and qualifying.
Closing in on the 99 car is Dale Jarrett for third position.
Yeah, Jeff Burton's car doesn't seem to be as strong as it was earlier. Jarrett's car is better. He's been running better laps than he has almost any time during the night.
Let's go down to Bill Weber.
Well, the first thing the crew wants me to tell you, Ned, is that you cheated them on their pit stop. You got them at a 15.9, but they turned a 15.7 down here. DJ was tight in the center. They took a half pound out of the left side tires, and that's helped him a little bit. Now, they also just told him a few laps ago to try the low groove for a few laps. He went from a 63 to a 57. Now nearly a wreck on the front stretch between the 30 and the 9. And that's helped him as well. The question is, can anybody catch Tony Stewart?
Well, actually, DJ is losing ground.
And that contact has caused the fender to rub tire on that 30 car, the State Fair Corn Dogs car of Todd Bodine, and he's got to go to the pit soon.
Smoking that right front, pretty good.
Yeah, you better get that thing down. Better get that thing down into the pits, because he'll be into the wall.
See, the fender is knocked in on the right front.
Big time, Barry. It's only big time.
This is the back of it, but the right front.
Looks good right down to me.
Wow, how'd it go away, Benny?
Yes, I think he slowed down.
Smoke in the corner.
I think he slowed down just a little bit, and I think he wore away most of the rubber that was rubbing the fender. But I think he slowed down is what's really helped the situation.
Jimmy Spitzer coming back out of the garage area.
Here's the replay of the contact between the 30 and the 9.
Yeah, you can
Not
see
as bad, Todd, but it's still on it. Looks fine, doggone teammate. Get back with it now. Get back. The 20's coming.
It's Barry Dodson, the crew chief, on the car.
Now the 30 car is 1 lap down in 20th position.
Push in the middle is terrible. It was terrible before, too.
The pushing in the middle, terrible.
We have got 57 laps to go in this race. As Todd Bodine stays out there, Tony Stewart has almost a 2-second advantage now on Bobby Labonte. Stewart has led 276 of the 344 laps completed so far. Back in a moment.
How's the car, Dale? A little tight off. 0 cars moving up. Got them on the inside.
Inside every member of Team Monte Carlo, there's a side that's kind of wild.
Get another tire.
Team Monte Carlo.
Animal.
This year, they're hungrier than ever.
The last 10 short track races in NASCAR Winston Cup competition have been won by 10 different drivers. You're seeing them right now. Rusty Wallace, John Andretti, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt. Could we have an 11th here tonight? Tony Stewart is currently leading this race.
But he
the
just lost the lead.
Well,
no, I beg your pardon. I looked at that orange car of the 0-1, but Bobby Labonte is catching him now, whether it's just in traffic and the 20 cars being a little careful through the traffic. I don't know. In fact, I thought when Ron Hornaday with that orange car, he caught him.
Well, no question, Bobby Labonte is a lot closer than he was to Tony Stewart. Well, don't forget, SportsCenter is coming up next. Just a great game at Yankee Stadium today involving the Red Sox and the Yankees. Younger sister Serena Williams atoned for her sister's loss to Martina Hingis in yesterday's U.S. Open semifinals. Maybe check it out tonight, and we will be back here with an interview with the important players of this race on SportsCenter coming up next here on ESPN. Well, Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Hamilton are running 7th and 8th, and the 9th place car of Mark Martin.
Interesting. You look up on the scoreboard there, you see the 6th place car is 2, the 7th place car is 3, and the 8th place car is 4. 2, 3, 4. Then Mark Martin is 6th, with 5 left out of that because he wrecked early in the race. Terry Labonte blew a tire and hit the wall.
If you're tuning in late, Jeff Gordon is out of the race, currently running in 38th position. And Mark Martin got a little loose coming off the corner.
Yeah, he got down on the inside there, I think, and nailed the gas, and it took off on him.
See Jimmy Spencer back on the racetrack in the Winston car, number 23.
Here's an AutoZone on-track interval BP, and there is the interval between now Stewart and Labonte that has been reduced by half.
Those 23.3, 23.2, I think that's a Tony Stewart run across that heavy traffic, because, and I think now he's back to like something like that 22.9 lap that we saw on there.
The last lap he ran a 118.069 and Labonte ran a 117.981, so Stewart just a little bit faster than Bobby that last time around. And Kenny Irwin and Ted Musgrave swap positions as Kenny goes into the top 10
again.
Another driver who is out of work, although there was considerable speculation that he will drive the 42 car in the year 2000, the one that Joe Nemechek has abandoned. And a battle for 15th between Steve Park and Kenny Wallace. That happening just in front of the leader, Tony Stewart.
Now this will hold up Tony Stewart. Oh, Kenny Wallace just a little bit loose. This is going to hold up the leader as he tries to get by these 2 cars that don't want to go a lap down.
Now fans will wonder, say, we saw Kenny Wallace get lapped a long time ago. Well, he got his lap back during when the caution came out not long after he got lapped. Whoever was leading the race, and I suppose it was Tony Stewart, slowed down and let him get back on the lead lap. Now he has lapped him again.
So he goes a lap down in 16th, and now Steve Park also goes a lap down in 15th. There are 14 cars on the lead lap. Running in 14th position, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Bobby Labonte still got that battle, and they have caught Rusty Wallace.
Bobby Hamilton, that is, in the 4 car.
Yes.
That 2, 3, 4 scenario there. They're a little over a half a lap behind the leader. About 12 seconds, 12 and a half.
Earnhardt looks inside of Rusty in turn 4.
Just easily goes by. Now Hamilton's going to try to do the same thing. And he goes by Rusty Wallace. Now here comes Mark Martin. Man, when they open the gate, they all want to come in.
There is Stewart, and you saw just ahead of him the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the last car on the lead lap. And Stewart has again lengthened his lead to more than 1 1/4 seconds. Doctor?
Down in the Tony Stewart pits, the anticipation is really growing. That is Krista Dwyer, who is Tony's fiance. Her lips have been quivering. Her eyes have gotten moist in the last few laps. And every time he comes by, she looks over her shoulder at the scoreboard to see the laps are counting down. She knows how important this night can be to her future husband.
Heavy smoke coming from Mark Martin.
Well, Mark Martin, a lot of smoke coming from his Valvoline Ford. And the man in second place in the point standings, this could be a huge hit for him.
And Jarrett, as you see in our points now graphic, has lengthened his advantage in the standings to 198, and it may go further than that as we go along in the evening because Martin does not look good.
The engine is still running, but obviously got some pretty serious problems.
You know, Benny, in the first practice today, he went out and he ran about 20 laps. And then all of a sudden, he was really running good. The smoke started coming from his car. He took it into the garage area. They worked on it for about 30 minutes, came back out. And I asked Jack Ralphs this afternoon what had happened. And he said that apparently that one of the oil lines had been left just a little bit loose. And, of course, they fixed that and went on back out and practiced. Bill?
Well, they just said there's nothing they could do. There's oil coming out the breather. They were hoping it was an oil line. They thought it might be a piston. Mark said it sounds like a piston. Jimmy Fennick says, shut it off. We're taking it to the garage. Well, maybe Mark's going to drive it back there. But anyway, you take it there. It's going to the garage, and he's going to lose a whole lot of points.
Indeed he will. Tough break for Mark Martin as he pulls behind the wall with just 31 laps to go.
The NASCAR's official said, you're not going back on the racetrack. And the guy says, get out of the way. We're going around behind the wall.
And the NASCAR guy says, okay.
See, the NASCAR officials they don't monitor the radio, so they had no idea that Mark was going behind the wall. They thought he was trying to go back on the racetrack.
Well, SportsCenter is coming up next. A no-hitter in baseball today. Did Sammy get another home run? And how about an investigation of the San Francisco 49ers salary cap on the eve of the NFL season? Less than 24 laps to go in the Exide NASCAR Select Batteries 400 Winston Cup race at Richmond International Raceway. Tony Stewart has a 1-second lead over Bobby Labonte. Now the 4-car of Bobby Hamilton is on the move.
And Kenny Irwin is also on the move. Look at this number 24, 28, Texaco, Haviland Ford on the inside of Bobby Hamilton. That's a battle for 6th position.
And Jeff Burton is just going backwards. Jeff was running in 4th place about 15 laps ago. He is now in 8th position. All of these cars have passed him. Ted Musgrave now going by him. So Burton's car has gone away.
Well, Kenny Irwin has 3 top 10 finishes in 4 races here, and he's got another one going here tonight as he battles Hamilton for 6th.
You know, we haven't talked much about Sterling Marlin tonight. The guy has moved up into 4th place. As we watch this battle for the 6th position, Dale Earnhardt is 5th. For 6th. Kenny Irwin just gradually getting him every lap.
Best finish, of course, this year was a 3rd in the very first race of the year, the Daytona 500. Boy, they just continue to go side by side, don't they now? Hamilton has the advantage, but here comes Kenny right back.
Kenny Irwin, Doug Richard, that entire crew has got themselves a very good race car tonight. Now he takes the spot away from Bobby Hamilton.
Now we go on board with Sterling Marlin,
who is running 4th. He's not in contention for 3rd at the moment. He's about 10 seconds behind Dale Jarrett, but he has moved right on up through there. DJ's about 4.8 seconds behind the leader, Tony Stewart.
As a result of his 40th place finish at Darlington last week, Marlin dropped 3 positions in the point standings down to 18th. But will probably gain some back here tonight with his 4th place performance right now. And boy, I tell you, that nerve between 1st and 2nd is definitely shrinking.
Yes, it is. You see Bobby Labonte has come right into the picture there in the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. A pair of Pontiacs by Joe Gibbs Racing. Duking it out here tonight.
Some Tony Stewart fans are hoping that Tony can drive to his first Winston Cup victory here tonight. There are less than 17 laps to go. Joe Gibbs with an outstanding performance here tonight, running 1st and 2nd. Here's a Hardee's Field summary with the point standings again. And as a result of Jeff Gordon's problems, Stewart moves to 4th, and Jeff Burton may move to 5th.
Well, this traffic right now is going to be murder for Tony Stewart as he tries to work through it. And he's got slow cars on the inside, and he has to follow these slow cars by on the outside.
And Bobby Labonte is just going to try to follow him right through, but Tony got through that group pretty good. And so did the 18 car Bobby Labonte. And Ray Dunlap is with Mark Martin.
Mark, we see it's obviously something wrong with the engine here. Do you think it's related to the crash you had with Ward Burton?
I don't think so. Not sure what broke in it, but just a part. You know, sometimes parts break. And, I was pretty encouraged with the team and with the car for a long time. And then toward the end, we started having a little trouble with that sealer wearing off. But Valvoline Cummins team did a great job, and we were pretty darn strong for 2/3 of the race.
Okay, Mark Martin there. They're definitely done for the night, guys. And you remember last year about this time, it was a blown engine at Darlington that took Mark out of this championship chase. This is going to be an awful big blow tonight.
Folks, don't go away. This thing is far from over. Bobby Labonte is right there behind Tony Stewart, and Jeff Burton is going a lap down in 10th spot.
Well, his car has really gone away on him. He just, from the drop of the green flag on this last run here, he has just not been as good as he had been earlier tonight. I'm talking about Jeff Burton, who won this race a year ago, now a lap down.
Bobby Labonte has won 4 times in 1999. He won at Dover, he won the 2nd race at Michigan, and he swept Pocono.
I think in clean racetrack, I don't think he can catch Tony Stewart, because I think Stewart's car is as fast as Bobby Labonte's, maybe even faster. But who knows what's going to happen when you run across all this traffic.
6 drivers have won in their rookie year in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Shorty Rollins did it in 58. Earl Ross, Dale Earnhardt, Ron Bouchard, Morgan Shepherd, the latest to do it. The most recent was Davey Allison in 87, and he won 2 times in his rookie season. Well, there are 10 laps to go at Richmond International Raceway. Can Tony Stewart hang on and record his first victory?
Ninth place car, John Andretti, just went a lap down. So Tony Stewart's setting a very fast pace here tonight. Has put a lot of real good race cars a lap down.
Tony has led the most laps in the last 2 short track races. He led 225, the most at Bristol. So far tonight, he has led 324, and that number continues to go up.
Rick Mast in the 98 car moves over, lets Tony Stewart go by. Check that out. Jeff Gordon, the closest, led 56 laps. Tony Stewart has led 324.
8 to go. Rusty Wallace was the last Pontiac winner here at Richmond International Raceway 6 years ago.
Brett Woodine in the Paychex Ford just went a lap down. Brett's back in 31st position.
There's Krista.
A little bit nervous.
Yeah. Yep, and even
saying a prayer.
Maybe some moisture there in the eyes, huh?
How many more laps? Count them down.
He knows how much Tony wants it. You ever see the 28 car Kenny Irwin trying to get by Dale Earnhardt for the 5th position?
Well, Jerry Punch, what's it like down there in the Stewart pit?
Incredible anticipation, Bob. And Tony Stewart, you can hear the excitement in his voice every lap. He says, talk to me, talk to me. Keep talking to me, guys. Tell me the laps. So they're counting them down now one by one as he comes by. He says, the spotter needs to talk to me. The crew chief talk to me. He's so excited. They're trying to keep him calm and count them off one by one as they go by.
The last time we had a first-time winner in Winston Cup racing, as Greg Zipadelli has his fingers crossed, was Jeremy Mayfield in Pocono last year in June. Tony Stewart is a little more than 4 laps away from victory here tonight. The interval between himself and his teammate Bobby Labonte is 63/100ths of a second.
But right in front of them, they got cars running side by side for position. So Bobby Hamilton up there, the 75 car Musgrave with 4 laps to go. I don't know if Tony's going to get to him before this thing's over. He hopes not.
397 complete for Tony Stewart.
Man, this thing is never going to be what they said. Steve Grissom, the 9 car.
Tony Stewart won the USAC Midget Championship in 1994. In 1995, he won the Sprint, Midget, and Silver Crown Championships in the same year in the United States Auto Club. He won the Pep Boys Indy Racing League title in 1997. Here is a battle between Earnhardt and Irwin for the 5th position. And Tony Stewart gets the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Stewart has a lot of traffic ahead of him, but I don't think it's going to be a factor in the race. They come down the backstretch. Bobby Labonte is still about 5 or 6 car lengths behind him. Here comes Tony Stewart off the corner. And in his 25th NASCAR Winston Cup race, Tony Stewart wins at Richmond International Raceway. Becomes the first rookie in Winston Cup racing to win since Davey Allison at Dover. Down to Bill Weber.
Greg Zipadelli, congratulations. You and Tony Stewart just got your first Winston Cup victory.
I just want to say thanks to everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing, Motor Department, Fab Shop, Prep Shop. Everybody done a great job. Everybody here, I'd like to say thanks to Bobby, Jimmy Maycar. You know, they've all made this possible. It's an awesome day. Tony did a great job.
You have run so well at so many tracks. You won. You started up front here. Did you think this could be your night?
Yeah, well, you know, you have to have the track position, good pit stops, and an awesome. We just had an awesome day. I don't even know what to say. I can't believe it. This is a dream come true.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, Jimmy Makar is here, and several other crew members have come down here to congratulate them. Tony Stewart started second. Tonight he's first for the first time in his NASCAR Winston Cup career.
And it looks like he's going to take an entire lap around the racetrack in celebration. Don't forget, SportsCenter is coming up next with all the major news stories from the day, including baseball, tennis, and auto racing. Back here at Richmond to talk with Tony in a moment. Back at Richmond International Raceway, the champion emerges.
He wants to throw everything.
Is he excited or what? He should be.
Here's our McDonald's winner circle. Doctor, join the celebration.
Well, you know how excited he is. He hugs his crew chief before his fiance. That's how excited he is. He hugs Krista Dwyer now. A moment ago, Greg Zippodelli, a big kiss. Hey, Tony, congratulations. #1, your first victory in NASCAR Winston Cup. What a night.
Oh, man. I wish I knew what to say. I mean, you plan all your life for something like this, and I don't know. It's the first time I've been speechless. Everybody knows I know how to talk. You know, this is for Davey Allison. I mean, this was the mark I had to shoot for all year, and you know, Donnie Allison and his family have been great to me this year. And I'm out of breath. That's a lot of stuff to talk about after winning a race, but you know, Greg Zippodelli, all the people at Home Depot and all their associates, they have been just unbelievable this year. And Joe Gibbs Racing, Bobby Labonte, Jimmy Makar, all the Interstate Battery guys. I mean, this is a team victory, and this is something Joe Gibbs has been dreaming about. So 1-2 finish. I'm just glad I'm on top tonight.
We could hear you those final 10 laps, the emotion beginning to creep into your voice as you told the spotter and everyone to talk to me, count them down. Talk to me, guys, about those last few laps.
Well, I mean, I kept getting intervals, and I knew we were running about the same times as Bobby. Just traffic was really going to hurt us at the end because the tires were getting really old, and it was hard to turn down underneath people and run the low line. But you know, that's what we worked on really hard today in the first practice, was being able to stay low. And you know, Greg and all the guys really worked hard to make sure this car drove good all day. You know, this is a long time coming. I want to dedicate this to Glenn Nibel. He's got cancer, and that guy taught me a lot, and you know, a lot of stuff he taught me really helped me tonight. So this is for him.
And I also know how much you cared for Davey Allison, and that this is the first time a rookie has won since December of '87 when Davey Allison won at Dover. So that has to mean even more to you.
Well, it is. Like I say, you know, Donnie Allison was one of the few guys that. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Proud of you. Thank you. I mean, you know, the Allison family's been good, and you know, ever since Daytona, he's came down every week and offered advice to me, and it's really meant a lot to us this year.
Hey, go celebrate, my friend. You deserve it. You are a winner in Winston Cup.
Don't problem. I'm not going to have any problem celebrating now.
Tony Stewart, the Rushville Rocket, as they celebrate here in Victory Lane, and the party is about to begin.
Great sportsmanship there with Dale Jarrett. Glenn Nibel, one of Tony's short track owners back when he was running in the United States Auto Club. Finishing second tonight to Tony Stewart was Bobby Labonte. We'll be back with more in a moment. 2 points. His advantage over Mark Martin is now 270. Tony Stewart moved up 1. Jeff Burton up 1. Gordon down 2. And Mike Skinner moves up 1 to the 10th position. Led 333 of the 400. Bobby Labonte led a lap, and so did Mike Skinner, but only 8 cars were on the lead lap at the end of the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. records his first top 10 finish in Winston Cup.
And we see 16 through 30 this afternoon. All these cars will lap down. Steve Park will lead that group. Elliott Sadler continues with another good run, 17th tonight. Steve Grissom back in 30th. He finishes 5 laps down. Hornaday back in 29th.
And finally, you see a couple other drivers who led. There weren't many of those yellow marks out there tonight because Tony Stewart led with so many laps. But you see Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon way down on the list there this week.
Guys, you made live TV because you took the words right out of my mouth. SportsCenter is coming up next, but we will be back to wrap things up in just a moment from Richmond International Raceway, where Tony Stewart won his first race tonight. Later that same day, then on Sunday, October the 3rd, RPM Today's at noon, NASCAR Today at 12:30, and the Napa Auto Care 500 is at 1 o'clock on Sunday, October the 3rd. And NASCAR Today next week, will bring you up to date on everything that's happening. Well, it was a typical night of short track racing at Richmond International Raceway. Terry Labonte had a hard hit early in the race. Greg Zipadelli and the Home Depot team doing a great job in the pits, getting Tony Stewart track position. Others, however, were not so lucky. Jimmy Spencer crashed. Mark Martin went behind the wall. But Tony Stewart's fiancee, Krista, looked on as Tony Stewart drove to victory here tonight. His first Winston Cup victory comes in his 25th race. He's the 10th driver to win in 1999. It's the 6th time that Pontiac has won in 1999, and Tony Stewart becomes the 11th different winner on a short track in Winston Cup competition. The average speed of the race, 104.021. He beat his teammate Bobby Labonte to the checkered flag. There was all kinds of celebration in Victory Lane. Congratulations to Tony Stewart. From Richmond International Raceway, I'm Bob Jenkins. So long.